I have here 2¼ cups water, and I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon salt to it, a level teaspoon salt, and I'm gonna bring that to the boil. Okay, I'm gonna add 200 grams of the tiny macaroni shells. It's same as 7 ounces, so I'm gonna measure it in cups to see how many cups it is. But it's just a small pack, so you can use for the 7-ounce pack. One, 2, 3. So you're not gonna cover it, because if you cover it, it will boil over. So I just leave it there until it's what you call al dente, which is just a little, it's cooked but it's not soft, right? So this is the macaroni shells about 10 minutes after. In the pot I have 1 ounce of butter or margarine, and I have 1 tablespoon of minced onions and a teaspoon of minced scallions. It's up to you if you want to use the scallions or not. So to this now I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of flour, and then use the whisk to mix that together. So I'll just let the onions and the scallions just cook a little bit until I start to smell the aroma of the onions, and then I'll add the flour, 1½ tablespoon of flour. I'm gonna add 2 cups of whole milk. And then I'm gonna mix, stir until everything is mixed out properly. To this I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of black pepper. If you have white pepper, you can use the white pepper. So this is about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just a little tiny bit of black pepper. And mix that up. And I'm gonna add the cheese. I'm using some, you can use whatever cheese you prefer, but you have to use some white cheddar. And you can use all white cheddar, but I'm using a little of this our Jamaican tasty cheese, so that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm adding 2 cups of the white cheese grated and 1 cup of the tasty cheese grated. I'm gonna mix that up. And I'm gonna simmer that on low until the cheese starts to melt. You can add a little mozzarella too if you want. Here's our sauce now. So it's on very low, because that it will burn, so you have to keep the flame very low. Some people add seasoning, a lot of seasoning to the mac and cheese. I don't, because I think it should be something in which you can taste the flavor of the meat and not overpower the flavor of the meat. So I don't put too much seasoning in there, because you know Jamaicans like to put a lot of seasoning in everything. So even putting in the scallions, you don't have to. You can just use the onions alone. I'm gonna add the macaroni shells now. I don't use the elbows, because with the shells I think the sauce gets into the macaroni more, so I prefer it that way. So even if you weren't using measurements, once you can decide how much milk you want to add after you add the macaroni, then you look at it and see how much, because normally I make much more than this, so I'm judging the milk. So I think I might need to add some more milk. Let's see. Yeah, because it needs to cover the whole thing. I'm going to add 1 more cup of milk. Just giving it a little check to see the sauce is coming together nice and thick again. You can add paprika if you want to, but I'm not going to add any paprika. But you can try that if you want. See the little bubbles there? As soon as they start to bubble, it's time to turn off the stove because the macaroni will stick. So I'm going to turn it off now and put it in the grease dishes I have. This is a grease dish I have, and I have another little container here. I'm just gonna scoop it all from the pot into the dish. So everything could hold in this dish, but because I like the topping, I'm gonna put some more into another container. So let me finish up that. The next step, I'm gonna grate some cheese over the top of the mac and cheese. So I'm just adding a thin layer. Okay, the next step, we're gonna add a very thin layer of breadcrumbs. Just plain breadcrumbs. And then the final step, you clean up the edges. So we're gonna bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until the top is golden brown and the whole thing starts to bubble. So you can decide how much you want the top to be brown. Taking a peek after 20 minutes. You could take it out now if you wanted, but I want it to be just a little browner. And here we are. So if you want your macaroni and cheese to be creamier or less creamy, it depends on the amount of milk you add. So if you want it to be creamier, you can add more milk and more cheese. And if you don't like it too creamy, then you add less milk and less cheese. This is so yummy.